Deep in the shadows, I know it's hard to put one foot in front of the other.
Hi guys, welcome to the channel. My name is CeeChronicles, and on this platform I post fragrance related content. Kindly consider subscribing and joining the family. Also remember to hit the like and share button, as those two buttons, guys, help with the algorithm. Now if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back. I introduced this big discovery set which I was gifted by French Avenue. This particular discovery set, guys, has got fragrances from French Avenue as well as from Fragrance World that are yet to come. I'm just going to show you a slide out. Okay, I'm just going to show you a snippet of how it looks like. So it's got two drawers. It's got all the fragrances listed here as well as the notes. So today I'm going to focus on what they're calling an equestrian series. Okay, and that series has Della, Hayden, Olena, and Pierce. All right, so that is it right there. Okay, that is the series I'm going to focus on. I did sniff these ones way back, but I didn't want to bring them here just, to have a couple of people saying where can we find them. So the very first one we are going to sniff together is a Pierce. The little vials are 4 ml each. I'll be able to tell you my thoughts on some of these fragrances. Okay, so Pierce from an equestrian series. Okay, notes are neroli, bergamot, and grapefruit at the top. Mid is geranium, clary sage, and elemi. The base of it is going to be some cashmere in there, ambergris, and vetiver. Now, first off, guys, this is a citrusy toned fragrance. It screams summer to me. It does have that gym-ish vibe, right? And I remember, guys, smelling a DNA very similar to this, where I usually buy my fragrances. It was off the Parfums de Marly fragrances, and that particular fragrance was Perseus. So I do think this fragrance shares a lot in common with Perseus. It is a citrusy, woody, spicy, aromatic scent. But very summer toned there. It does pull a little bit masculine because of that cologne undertone that it has. Perseus, the fragrance by Parfums de Marly, comes in an orangish bottle. So just by looking at the color of the bottle, you are going to get the mental shortcut that it's going to be a zesty fragrance. And why I do remember, that particular scent specifically is it was next to the Altair one. And I remember kind of having a little bit of some disappointment because I was hoping that one was going to be maybe caramel toned, in line with what Altair does. All right. So I ended up obviously buying the Altair and leaving that one because I found it citrusy. I found it crowd pleasing, which is not a bad thing. But for the price of the Parfums de Marly fragrances, I felt it was a little bit hefty price wise, considering that it was a citrusy toned fragrance. So this is probably going to be a fragrance that you need to reapply, this Pierce. As I'm smelling it like this, it does have some depth to it, as though it has a green fruit that's kind of tying it there. But oh yeah, right, it does mention grapefruit, but the depth that I'm getting here is also something that I get from a leafy blackcurrant. So it could have that as a note that is anchoring, the citrusiness to give it a little bit of some weight. So this is the first one, guys, I thought to clue you up on. It's called Pierce. The next one is going to be let me pull out Hayden. This is where I'm pulling them out from, guys. So we're going to pull out Hayden and I'm going to give it a quick sniff with you. Just cross-checking that it's not the same paper that I used. Okay, so this is Hayden. Here's a oh, okay, this is nice. This is nice. Just by smelling it in the air, it's nice. But it's also reminding me of something, which of course we're going to get into in a bit. Now, Hayden to my nose is a floral that's aromatic and spicy. This is also woody. It could very well have oud, but the oud here is a soft oud, okay? Because I am getting woods, like it does have woods, perhaps cedar, but it's not just the woods acting alone. Sometimes when the woods are anchored by an oud, you can actually feel it, but this is not like a smoky oud that I get from this fragrance. It's mostly an aromatic floral, but it also does lean a little bit masculine. Okay, so these are the notes for Hayden. Top has bergamot, clary sage, and lavender. Yes, it does smell very aromatic there. Then it has cedarwood. Yes, I was right there. Praline and saffron. And then it has a leather, musk patchouli, vetiver, and oud accord. I like the fact that they said oud accord because it really isn't one that I would place under oody fragrances, but there is like a tease of that, okay, happening there. So it's mostly an aromatic fragrance, guys, and with that lavender, of course, yes, in the lead. It does mention the note of leather, but I personally wouldn't put this one in my top 10 leather fragrances, because the leather is there, right, but it's also kind of playing second fiddle. It's not like pushy in the forefront. This is kind of in the same fragrance family as Parfums de Marly Hayden. And what I'm noticing now is, I think an equestrian series is a series from French Avenue, drawing inspiration of the Parfum de Marly's. Because remember, I did say the first one smelled a lot like Persia's, and this one now smells a lot like Hayden. So okay, Hayden is going to smell a lot like Hayden. It is a fragrance that is summer toned, okay, but it can transition through all seasons. I'm going to put this one at probably masculine. Yes, this is going to be aromatic because of that sage, you know, because of the lavender note, because of the saffron, but something in here is also a little bit sweet there, you know, as if it has praline. Let me see if it does list the note of praline. Yes, it does list the note of praline. So yeah, there is a sugary accord to this, and it is very refined to the nose. In terms of comparing it with the first one, I would say Hayden is most likely going to last a little bit longer because it does have those woods tying it there. So it could be a fragrance that can be smelled well into maybe 5 hours, 6 hours, somewhere thereabout. Is also most likely going to project versus the first one, which was Pierce, because Pierce, remember, I did say, was centered mostly on the citruses, and because citruses are volatile, sometimes they're gone before you know it. So I'm just going to judge that one based off of that, but this is just mental shortcut, not that it's tentative, right? So the third one we are going to review together is going to be Della. Just show you a close-up. So that is a close-up of Della. We're gonna give Della a quick spray together, and then I'll tell you my thoughts. Okay, so that's Della. Okay, yeah. It's one of those that are, you know, mental shortcut. You already know what this is about. I mean, just by smelling it there. I'm just going to tell you the notes nonetheless, but I do like what it's doing a little bit, you know. It is a floral, slightly fruity scent, right? It lists the note of lychee, rhubarb, and bergamot. Now, if you've been an OG on this channel, you probably know where we're going with this. The mid says muguet. I don't know whether the T is pronounced or is silent, and then it has a rose and the peony, and then the base is vanilla, cashmere, and woods and musk. Now, this simply put, guys, is another rendition of that Della. I really do like what it's doing here. It is very fruity. The lychee is very aquatic. They're kind of diluting the rhubarb, because when it comes to the Della DNA, it just depends on what the rhubarb and the lychee is doing. In this case, I'm getting more lychee than I am getting rhubarb, but it is certainly that Della DNA. So this is going to pull feminine. This is going to be favored by those who like rosy scents. The Della, you know, DNA in itself is a very beautiful DNA. It's just that it's been overly done on the market to an extent that appreciating it is one of those things. Like, people are looking at it with like cringe, you know what I mean? Just like what's happening with BR540. The fact that it was a special fragrance, but it's got so many clones and dupes on the market to an extent that, say you went to a mall, there's a likelihood that out of 100 people you meet, maybe 30 will be smelling of either Baccarat Rouge 540 or Della. That is the only thing I can take away from, you know, that DNA, which has been replicated again by French Avenue in this fragrance called Della. But in itself, it does smell nice. It does do justice to that Della DNA, you know, giving off an aquatic lychee working with a softened rhubarb. The florals are gorgeous here. I'm actually getting more of the peony than the rose. Okay, it's not really too rosy. It is also, to my nose, not as powdery as how some Della renditions on the market are. So this is a little bit soft on the powderiness there. You know, I'm not getting a really pushy powdery accord. If it does dry down to very powdery, then I'll probably have to update in a future video. But yeah, it is a fragrance that is feminine to my nose. It's gonna be liked by those people that like nice girly fragrances. This DNA also is an all year rounder. It's not the sort of DNA that I'll say, oh, it's summer toned, is whatever. And if at all, it, continues the way I'm smelling it right now, it's gonna last, which is one thing, that you can take away from the Della DNA, the fact that it does have a good lasting power, unless the clone house has really messed up, with the proportions to an extent that it doesn't last. Otherwise, Della is known for being beastly. Okay, now the last one, guys, unfortunately, while I was going through my book, I did not find Olena. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a fragrance that is not in this particular Equestrian series, because we featured one earlier. So I'm just going to put that Chocola Addict as a fourth one, but I'm going to give you a clue of what Olena is all about, right? Olena is a fragrance centered on bergamot, grapefruit, mandarin, and orange. And then the mid is orange blossom, raspberry, and black currant. The base of it is marshmallow, cream, muscana bread, right? I did smell this one. This one is another rendition to that Oriana DNA by Parfums du Mali. If you love your fragrances, floral, citrusy, but with a marshmallow accord, a sugar accord, even a creamy backdrop there, that is what you're going to get from this fragrance. Unfortunately, it's not in this discovery set. Now, for the last one, as I said, I'm just going to talk about Chocola Addict. Why? Because Chocola Addict comes in the same bottle as Eclair Affair, okay? And we did talk about Eclair Affair, so we may as well just talk about Chocola Addict as the last one, so that you guys have, both videos of what the two are doing. This one is nice. Oh, this one is nice. Okay, let me just show you where it says Chocola Addict. And this one is a pleasant surprise to me, because I was hoping that it doesn't turn into a Billie Eilish. Guys, it's so not like a Billie Eilish. Notes listed for Chocola Addict are definitely that chocolate, because I can smell it. But let me just try and see if I can. Okay, notes listed are tangerine, chocolate, incense and leather, and the base is vanilla and myrrh. Don't worry about the incense. Don't worry about the leather. When it comes to this is a beautifully done chocolate scent. This is gourmand. It's actually creamy. This is gorgeous, guys. I've had my nose on a lot of chocolate fragrances, and some just don't go anywhere with me. They fall flat. But this is for the gourmand lovers. This, you're not going to go around smelling like you've been in a chocolate factory. I'm just going to spray it on myself because this is gorgeous. You're not going to go around smelling like you've been in a chocolate factory, because yes, it presents the chocolate, but it's not like a gooey type of chocolate. Oh, this is gorgeous, guys. This Chocola Addict is beautiful, and the naming of this is on point. This is a fragrance that, draws you to keep wanting to sniff it. It has a citrus that's now coming to the surface, but it doesn't make it about the citrus, right? It's mostly about that cacao chocolate, and it's one of those fragrances that use the note of cardamom beautifully. I did see this one being compared a lot to a Xerjoff. I'm going to put the Xerjoff that it was compared to, and I can see why, in as much as I haven't had my nose on that Xerjoff. What it's doing here is it's definitely gourmand with a vanilla, but there is something in here that I get from Parfums du Mali Altair, kind of how the vanilla is mixing with the chocolatey gourmand aspect of it. It does have something there that you get in Altair, the gourmandness that you get from Altair. Or perhaps let me give an example of Lattafa's Art of Nature. There is something in here that kind of vibes like that, but this is a beautifully done fragrance, guys. It's going to have, of course, that chocolate. It's going to have a creamy accord to it. It's going to be certainly a gourmand with a good serving of the vanilla, and the vanilla mixing with the chocolate, is what really this fragrance is about. But in that, it doesn't become sticky because it has the woods there, kind of moderating things to make sure that it doesn't become gooey, like I said. It is also now giving me wafts of like just a faint muskiness, but it's really not about that. I love this fragrance, guys, and I'm glad I did test it on my skin. I'm going to see how it progresses as the day goes. And in fact, let me say, of the four that I spoke about, it's actually my favorite, although it was not part of the Equestrian series. This one is not a fragrance that has been duped about a lot. So if you're looking to buy a fragrance from French Avenue that's not going to disappoint you in terms of what you get, then Chocola Addict is going to be the one for you. But mental shortcut here, I'm going to say, if you love fragrances like Art of Nature 1, or it's Art of Nature 2, by Lattafa, then you're certainly going to love this, because the gourmand accord in this one vibes like that. If you love liquid brune, you're certainly going to love this. This is also a safe unisex scent, but I can see ladies claiming it because it just is a yummy scent without it being too foody, if you know what I mean. Oh, I love this one. This has the woods that would likely make it push a little bit further. As for the chocolate sticking around for long, maybe you will enjoy the chocolate for an hour or two, because it does feel as though my skin is now sucking the chocolate, and that one is pretty much going away. And chocolate may, during the course of the wear, maybe an hour or two in, kind of fizzle, and then this fragrance ends up being about a yummy vanilla with a creamy backdrop and of course some wood. CeeChronicles is my name. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me today. Let's meet in the comment section where we discuss more about fragrances. Remember to turn on post notifications, guys. That way you get to be notified anytime I upload a video. Like and share this one, and remember that smelling good is a form of good manners. Cheers, guys.